From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, pull up a chair, have some Kool-Aid. Coming off a 2-10 season, Corey Clark says, I don't think there's any question marks on this team. He'll indulge us. Latest batch of Newcomer interviews, our takeaways, and who's on deck for Florida State to make it into Canton and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, the world's first and only clinically proven energy shot. In fact, after a 14-day clinical trial, participants reported that, yes, 89 of them said, yeah, Vitamin Energy boosted my energy. It was very effective. 75% said, yeah, my focus, my concentration, better after taking the shot. 78% said, yeah, effective at reducing my brain fog. What you waiting for, everybody? Patent pending, tested, proven, and Noles behind the whole operation. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it, take it, sip the juice. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. Hopefully you've been hanging out with us during the afternoons on Tuesdays and Thursdays, like the hot boys. Interviews, football players, Corey Clark live transcribing, Matt Lasser tweeting it, Irish O'Fell in the trenches, I'm in the trenches, Tom Lang, Ben Spicer, putting the video up on the internet for your enjoyment, everybody. It's a team effort. Show some love. Check us out. Give us a spin. You're going to like it. And then you can coast into the season, knowing that you got a subscription to warchant.com. You won't miss anything as we get ready for a run back to Charlotte and then hopefully the playoffs. That's right, the playoffs. Corey Clark, sounds like you're doing some stenography over there in the cut. What's going on, big dog?
Just posting something on the website. Guys, if you want to interact with me or any of our other esteemed members of Warchant, just go get a Warchant membership and get on the tribal council and chop it up. Yeah, I was just posting something on the message board.
I want to get to one of your things maybe at the end of the show. You've had some really good questions. You've been generating discussion, but just sparked by Corey Clark, everybody. We'll do that. The Renegade Express mailbag and generating discussion sparked by Cummins. We'll do that tomorrow. So head over to warchant.com, Tribal Council, put your questions in the thread, and we'll, as Corey said, we'll chop it up and we'll kick it around. But yeah, Corey's got something I want to talk about maybe towards the end of the show. But let's dive into interviews from Tuesday. We got 3 young gentlemen, one from the transfer portal and from UCF, Adrian Medley, apparently Alabama native, although he attended high school in Pensacola, Auburn fan growing up. But hey, we all have our flaws. Right. And then a pair of high school athletes, Jayvan Boggs and Chase Loftin, Nebraska's favorite son. I know you wrote something up on Boggs, so I kind of want to start on Medley, but let's start on Boggs. Intriguing to me, Corey. Not lacking in confidence, but not overconfident, not arrogant by any stretch. Seems like he's programmed the way you want a freshman to show up here to Florida State. We're going to try to get this offense rebooted.
Well, yeah, he and Loftin both seem like they expect to play. I think it'd be easier for Boggs than Loftin just because, well, number one, I think there's probably a little bit more, there is more experience in front of Loftin. And tight end is more of a physical position where you've just got to get physically mature. Wide receivers we've seen, true freshmen can come in and make plays all the time. And, yeah, man, Boggs is absolutely confident.
Was that sarcasm that we've seen true freshmen come in here and make plays all the time?
I meant you all around the country is what I meant.
Okay,
yeah, not necessarily here. Rashad Green, still love you, buddy. You're still the number one when it comes to freshman wide receivers around here that I've covered. Yeah, I think with Boggs, man, it makes sense that he's confident. I knew we had like a big senior season. I didn't know we had 93 catches as a junior.
Mm-hmm.
He had 191 catches in 2 years. That's nuts. 192 catches. That's crazy. He had 93 for like 1,500 as a junior, and then 99 for over 2,000 as a senior. And look, man, I think there's a lot of people that rightly can say, okay, great, the offense might be designed for him. Maybe the competition wasn't great. Maybe it's a smaller school. I actually don't know if
it's 2A. It's 2A.
Yeah, so it's a smaller school. So those levels of football can lend themselves to guys putting up staggering type numbers. It's not like he was playing at Miami or Northwestern doing that. But at the same time, when you've caught 230 passes the last 2 years, over 4,300 yards and 56 touchdowns. You're used to doing it, man. I think personally, you have like a natural, innate ability to play the position when you put up numbers quite like that. Whether it's reading defenses, making people miss. Or
just catching the damn ball, right?
All that, yeah.
I mean, if you caught 99 passes, I don't care how many targets you have. You obviously are sure-handed, so that's a good
correct.
Start.
And you're a big part of the offense. Yeah. You're scouted for before every game, and you still go and make plays. I think there's a standard you hold yourself to when you're that guy. Again, not probably playing the best defenses in the country. Clearly, the team he played in the semifinals when he had 378 yards, which was the state record, I don't know what their defensive coordinator was doing, but I feel like you'd have put 4 guys on him after the first 200 yards. But even so, I just like guys. Look, man, the tools, the raw tools, the speed, the size, all that stuff when you're looking at receivers is great. But I just – and again, I don't want to say that I don't want to feel like I'm taking a shot at this guy. But Deuce Spann was never a natural receiver. It's just not something he played.
Yeah.
And so he's faster than Jayvan Boggs. He's bigger. He's 6'4". Boggs is like 6'1". Now, Boggs is put together now, though. Mm-hmm. Like you and me, we're guys. We know what it looks like, guys that are in the gym that are strong because that's us, right, Aslan?
Correct.
We live that.
That's right.
Yeah, real recognizes real.
Mm-hmm.
That guy puts in some work because he's put together, especially for a true freshman. But it's like, man, there's more to it sometimes than just straight-ahead speed and height. There's a lot of nuance that comes to play a wide receiver to have those kind of numbers. And I think I just would appear that my man has that in spades because you don't put up those numbers if you don't. And he does have a lot of confidence in himself, and that's good. Don't come here expecting not to play. Come here expecting to start. Probably won't, but expect to start and expect to contribute. They need guys like that.
Yeah, I think he didn't say start, but I mean, he wants to contribute. Yeah. I think he was saying something along the lines of that, which I do wonder when you're a head coach, you want guys that believe in themselves and are confident, but I don't know if you can have 25 true freshmen and they all want to play and start. He seems to kind of strike that happy medium where, he's like, man, just like I want to carve something out and I want to be able to contribute, because you don't want guys that are also sheepish and like, oh no, this is totally redshirt year. I don't want to get thrown in the fire. So he seems to kind of walk that line, I think, between a guy that, recognizes he's probably got a steep climb ahead of him, but he's like willing to take it on. So.
I think he expects to play, man. That's the vibe I got. Is I think he expects to play, and he might be one of these natural guys that comes in immediately and gets it. LaWayne McCoy might have expected to play a lot more than he did, and that's kind of what I like though, Aslan, because I think LaWayne McCoy can play.
Yeah, I do.
I'm on record as saying I think he could be a really good receiver if he's in an offense that can function at all. Hakeem Williams probably can play. We know that Deuce and Squirrel can play. So I love the fact that, like, if LaWayne McCoy has a bad day or just doesn't have a good day, Jayvan Boggs might push him a lot and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna wait my turn. I'm rising all the ships here, man, because I'm coming to play, and if you want to get on the field, you have to beat me out, and that raises the competition level. So even if Boggs doesn't play a lot, but he makes McCoy better, and then that helps. Or any of the guys, B.J. Gibson, Fryer, whoever's left over from the last couple of recruiting classes, that all that matters, man. But I was really impressed with him because I think, again, too much can be made about a lot of stats in high school, but it doesn't mean they're meaningless. Because I remember Tony Douglas in high school. I watched him in a game. Maybe Jayvan Boggs probably won't have the career that Tony Douglas had, but maybe. And like he played for Jonesboro High. I don't think they were that good a team, but he was just some guys just have the natural ability to score. Don't care. He wasn't a great shooter. Certainly wasn't a big kid, but he had a natural ability to go get buckets. And you don't overlook that because he's only 6'1". So some guys have a natural ability, and that proved out. That proved prophetic. Tony Douglas could get a bucket in the NBA right now. He's just a bucket getter. He was born to do it. Maybe Jayvan Boggs is one of these guys that's just born to catch footballs and make plays in space. Because we'll see. Don't want to put too much pressure on him. But the way he carried himself, he's much bigger than I thought. Again, like muscle-wise. How would we say that? Frame? Yeah. Like he's not slightly built. He's listed as 6'1", 200.
Yeah, man.
He kind of built like a running back, honestly. And he's got 230 catches in high school and had 99 his senior year for over 2,000 yards. So he came up like 27 yards short of the state record for a season, which was a bummer. But either way, I was really impressed with the way he handled himself. And I think, just looking at those numbers, I feel like he absolutely doesn't – he expects to come here and compete and win the job. And they need some guys like that. Like, you're right, maybe not everybody, but you want some dogs, Aslan. You want some dogs to come into that, especially on that side of the ball, man, because they didn't have a lot of it last year. That was not a kennel last year. Nobody did anything.
For context, I think he came up short of the career yardage record.
He definitely came up short for the season yardage.
Oh, see, okay.
He was like 27 yards short. He needed He needed like 160 in the state championship game, and he only got, because he's a bit of a loser, he only got 133 and a touchdown as they won their third straight state championship.
According to Max Preps, the career receiving record in Tampa, or in Florida, is Darrell Jackson. The other Darrell Jackson played receiver for the Gators. For context, the record
way back when, wasn't it?
Yeah, 94 to 96.
Wow.
For context, the record that Boggs now owns, single game receiving yardage, was held by Ryan Souza, who went to Lake Nona, and he went to the Gators and didn't really do much. And now I think he ended up at Southern Illinois to end his career.
Okay.
But hey,
what about Darrell Jackson? He had a pretty good career.
Yeah, he was in the NFL, man. He was in the Seahawks, I think. Did some stuff with the Seahawks. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see him whenever we get out to tour of duty, we hope, here towards the end of the month. See how he looks amongst these bigger dudes. Because, yeah, to your point, like 2A football, I'm not sure like the size of guy that he's going up against. But he played Gadsden County in the state championship game. So, they got some country boys on the Gadsden team.
That's where the other Darrell Jackson is from, right?
Full
yeah,
circle.
It all comes together. It also it also will help a lot to have if he can have a quarterback in an offense that gets him open. I just looked up Souza. He was like in Florida in like 14 and 15.
Yeah.
You're not gonna shine there. But it also, I want to make it clear, like it's not like he is a no star, no talent, just made a lot of catches in high school type guy. Like he was by most scouting services like a top 20 receiver in the country. One scouting service had him as like the 80th best player in the country. Other ones had him in the top 300. He was a 4-star, seemed like unanimous 4-star. So there's ability there too.
Yeah.
It's just that I love ability to go along with enormous production.
Yes.
I like having a guy that if he had 4 catches for 81 yards would be like, man, I kind of had an off night. You know what I mean? Like that's not what I'm used to. I'm used to 11 for 190. Again, high school, different level. I understand all that. I just like guys that produce, and he has really, really produced.
Millard South's favorite son, that's suburban Omaha, Chase Loftin, tight end. Really, impressive to hear him kind of talk about how important relationships were for him, because I can only imagine, we always talk about pressure, and I should have probably asked him this, but I didn't think about it until afterwards, Corey. But we always talk about pressure, and like I saw it firsthand when I was in Mississippi with these kids getting recruited by out of state programs that were high caliber, like even Cam Akers to a certain degree. Like when Florida State was recruiting him early on, like people were still like, well, he won't go, he'll stay in state, or he might go to Alabama and play for Nick, but like he won't go that far out of the SEC footprint. I'm sure there has to be kind of a comparable level of pressure, especially when Nebraska's trying to get this thing off the ground again, and they've got Dylan Raiola, and they're trying to get this offense rolling, and you're this 6'5", 6'6" standout tight end, and you decide to go all the way out to Florida State that's coming off a 2-10 season. So, the amount of emotional equity, I don't know if that's the right sort of phrase or term right there, Corey, but just the level of dedication the staff, Chris Thompson and Mike Norvell, put into getting Loftin onto campus really can't be overlooked, because I know there's other parts of the equation that get kids on campus, but he seems to really believe in them, and was even talking about, his goal of wanting to be in the NFL, and he likes what Mike's offense does and believes in it. So his vision, Mike Norvell, not lost on the youths, which is always a good thing. Yeah,
and I was right. Like I think he felt, when we talked to him on signing day, it really did seem like Norvell talked about him like he was the number one priority. Like he was really excited about that kid. And I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, that did matter. I could tell how excited that I was a priority with them. So, yeah, he's like, I could tell that I was a priority with them. He liked the coaching staff a lot, said it felt like family, said his coaches, or his family, his parents, noticed that it just felt different when they visited at Florida State. Plus, I'm sure he got a bag. That might have had something to do with it. I don't know how much. How would we? But I'm sure there were other factors just in the family atmosphere and getting to the NFL. But at the same time, I do think that stuff matters, and I'm interested with him because he's in a room with Marquiston, who's played a ton of football and is 260 pounds. Randy Pittman, who's played a ton of football and just caught 35 passes last year. Landon Thomas, who was, I think, maybe the most talented kid in that room. And then Amari Williams, who also made plays last year and is going to be playing defensive end as well. Like, right now, he's starting out the spring as the fifth-string tight end, right? Like, so what are the odds he gets on the field? But again, what I like is he certainly seems to expect that he will get on the field. And he was talking about he can't wait to get in the pads to showcase what he can do, as almost like, wait till you guys see what I can do. Wait till my teammates see how good I actually am. And he was a highly rated tight end too. So yeah, man, that's if he can live up to his own self-belief and the hype, that's another good thing. I mean, again, I don't expect Boggs and Loftin to be like dudes that are going to be the center point, the focal points, centerpieces of the 2025 Florida State offense. But by the middle of 2026, they might be real dudes. They might be all ACC guys. Again, stack up these guys, put them in your program. Let somebody like Boggs learn from a Deuce, a Squirrel. Maybe Hakeem takes the next step. And he can learn what it's like from those guys. And when they leave, he could be the guy. Last year they had two good NFL receivers leave, and they had nobody left. Maybe this is how you can maybe sustain some stuff on offense.
His confidence, I don't think it goes into the spectrum of arrogance, but I think I thought he was going to be a little soft-spoken, Midwestern, heartland, very humble. But like to hear him talk about like from the jump, like the focus. Yeah, man, like I wanted to be in an offense where, the tight end is going to be a pass catcher and not just a blocker. Coming off like, the first two sessions of our interviews just being like, oh yeah, like Gus, tight end, man, you got to be able to put your nose down and block and everything. And he's got some really high aspirations for himself. So I'm really excited to see how quickly he can integrate, because I feel like, that's the one, I don't want to say the one piece that's been missing, because, 2023, Jaheim did his part, and I don't think, any of us were really gnashing our teeth over, having more production out of the tight end. But I know that's that one spot where a lot of the people that listen to the show are always waiting for like this big breakout, like the next Nick O'Leary, if you will. But there's a glut of talent there, but you got a guy that's not scared away by it. So, hopefully maybe he's the one, but maybe we're already in the midst of it with Landon Thomas, right? Because what he did last year, if we can get something comparable out of Chase Loftin, like that's a win, right? Like if he gives you what Landon Thomas gave you this past year, I think we all would agree successful freshman season out of Chase Loftin.
Yeah, but you don't need it necessarily, because hopefully Pittman and Landon Thomas are making the majority of the catches. You didn't bring Pittman here to sit behind a true freshman, and Landon Thomas shouldn't be sitting behind a true freshman. So I don't think you need. Yeah, I mean, I don't care, man. 8 to 10 catches, 6 catches, I don't care. Play some, learn what it's like to be a good college tight end. Hopefully Pittman and Landon Thomas can show him the way. I don't want to put numbers on him, or Boggs for that matter. Again, you just want them to learn the right way to go about it, so they can be real difference makers when they're at the top of the depth chart, which won't be this year for either one of them probably. Boggs maybe. Boggs I think has a much easier shot than Loftin, just because there's the slot. I feel like the slot wide receiver spot is wide open, and that's what he said he's going to play. At least starting out. But, yeah, Lofton's probably not going to play a ton, but just learn what it's like. Be around osmosis, what it's like to be a good college tight end, and build off it.
Flying kind of blindish. I think here's the soundbite from Mike on December after signing day talking about Chase Loftin.
I think one of the stars of the class is Chase Loftin. He's been our top target. He's been the guy that we've wanted. As this thing has gone through, building a relationship with him, getting him on campus, it was no doubt that the the playmaker in space. He is a hybrid and can really do it all. He's one of the toughest matchup problem, I think players in the country. And he's got great speed, great playmaking, great hands, and then, he's also got a great deal of toughness that, when he has to come inside the box, you can feel him there as well.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. Sounds encouraging.
That was all very encouraging. Absolutely.
Now we encourage you to go to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. If you want to check out the menu beforehand, if you like being that meticulous about your decisions throughout the day, shout out. cptallybar.com. Go check it out. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Awesome. Almost as awesome as the daily happy hour, everybody. What? Weekdays, 4 to 7, and then all day on Sunday. Check out Bingo Night going down Thursday, 7 p.m. 4 rounds, $250 cash money in each single round up for grabs. Get your dauber, get your cards. Do you have do you have a certain grid you like, Corey? Do you have a method to your madness when it comes to bingo, or have you not dabbled enough in the arts?
Yeah, I don't do enough. I haven't daubed enough in the art. Daubered enough in the arts. No,
Ew.
I've only played bingo a couple of times, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not trying to ruin anybody's good time, but I can't stand it. I just never get to call bingo. Look, I'm not rushing anybody. You guys all know how to play bingo and what it's like. So if that entices you at all, get your butt up to Corner Pocket. You can win some real money, like legit real money, $250 if you win. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of bingo, not at all, really. It's very, very frustrating because you're always 1 or 2 squares away, and they never call B11. I'm sitting there for 12 straight rolls waiting on B11, and it never comes.
I love how we played bingo in elementary school. Just like we had certain days where we played bingo in class.
Did y'all square dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I hope they don't. I don't think they do that anymore, do they? In gyms, elementary school, and PE, they don't teach square dancing, do they?
Dude, a lot of elementary schools don't even do PE anymore.
Well, look, I'm all for it if they take square dancing off the table because that was ridiculous. What were we doing in the 80s?
Maybe I should do Cupid Shuffle instead, or one of those other popular ones that you have to do at a wedding.
Yeah, anything, man. The electric slide, any country music line dancing, I'm cool with. The what's the guy that did Tipsy, Shabuzi?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he did the remix to it or whatever. Yeah.
I assume there's a line dance for that.
Okay.
Do that. Yeah. Teach that. Square dancing isn't getting kids ready for anything. It's no way a plan for life. It's no way to get ready these 9-year-olds ready for life.
Get your dancing shoes on. Head to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it, take it. Sip the juice. Adrian Medley. What a nice young man. Sometimes, you want those guys that got that kind of edge, if you will, that maybe would really give you the business in a dark corner, or a dark alleyway or something like that. Just would be no nonsense. And not to say that he can't be both, the duality of man and everything. You can be a nice guy, but then maybe when the switch gets flipped, you become an absolute terror. Really nice young man. Really forthright about kind of, I guess, I don't want to say his struggles, but just dealing with injuries, kind of maybe getting lost in the shuffle. He'd been at UCF, I think, for 4 years. And in 2023, and I tried to ask him about this because I don't know like what exactly happened, but he played early in the season in one game. Maybe he got hurt in that game, but then he ends up starting the last 4 or 5 games to end the 2023 season, and then becomes like a starter all in 2024. And he just mentioned that, it seems like he was getting an accumulation of injuries or just setbacks that made him kind of reconsider just how much maybe his heart was into playing football. But he, Herb Hand probably, smacked some sense into him, and he seems to appreciate that. So Medley's got a nice kind of backstory, if you will, and another guy, again, that I think has every intention, Corey, of being part of the starting lineup, but doesn't have any intention of having it being handed to him.
Yeah, that message has been hammered home for sure, and I think with him, yeah, you're right. He struck me as different than Pettibone and Pettis. He does seem a little more affable, likable, lovable. Likeable's not the right word. Lovable. He seems like a nice kid. You hope that switches off when he's on the football field. I assume it is because he's playing at Florida State right now. So he must be pretty good, and Herb Hand really likes him. So I think that's what gives me confidence that he's the guy or going to be a guy is that Herb Hand had a chance to not recruit him. He could have been like, I'm in Tallahassee now. I'm away from the Medley kid. Finally, I can start over with somebody else. No.
Bless his heart, but just doesn't got that dog in him.
Yeah, but Herb Hand wanted him, clearly, which is a good sign because he's worked with him for, I think Medley was there when they got there. Or at least he's been there for 4 years. So, again, that's a really good sign.
He was there in 2019. They got there in 21.
2020. Oh, yeah, you're right. I think the 21, they were there for 4 years. So the fact that they both like him and wanted him after spending 4 years with him bodes very well that this is a guy that number one is not going to be a bad locker room guy and can actually really help you win. And a lot of experience, a lot of big moments playing with a good offense in this offense. So again, I'm trying to think, man, like of the portal guys we've talked to. How many do we think, like I feel like every guy we've talked to so far probably is going to start or is going to play a lot. But they all say the right things anyway. They all seem to say the right things, but I also think they're all here to play. I don't think you're going to have a Sean Murphy situation or, frankly, an Earl Little situation for the first 10 games. I think all these guys, unless I'm not thinking of one, I feel like we've talked to most of the portal guys. I could be wrong. I think they're all here to play and will play.
Yeah, we've spoken to all of them with the exception of Gunnar Hansen and who's our guy, Jason Jenkins from Tennessee. We're going to get them at some point. They had scheduling conflicts that they couldn't make their slots, but we'll get them at some point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if they all will start. A guy like Diamante Diggs from Coastal Carolina.
But I feel like he'll play. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like
Byron
all
Turner
these
overdrive's
guys are
gone,
here to play.
right? We're not Byron Turner anymore. We need somebody to be coming off the bench and helping out the edge.
Yeah, and I think whether McCray starts or not, I think he's going to play. Yeah. Obviously, James Williams is going to play. Like I think there's the real chance that they at least hit the batting average is high on guys that are going to contribute, and not guys that were just like misses. I mean, again, I guess I shouldn't say that. I have no idea if these guys are swings and misses or not. But I do know that it certainly seems like that all these guys they're experienced, they handle themselves well, and I do think that there's a very good chance that every single guy they brought in out of the portal is going to contribute to Florida State football this year, 2025. The offensive linemen, all four, are probably going to start. But they're only here for a year, but all four of them are going to start, so that's a good thing too.
How about we flip this kind of on its head, Corey? What does it say about, I guess, Gus Malzahn and Herb Hand that, that was an ugly season UCF had. I mean, they went what? They went 4-8 and they lost something like, I don't know, I think like 6 out of their last 7 or maybe even more than that. But he mentioned that, he had options, but even after that sluggish season they just had this past year in Orlando, Adrian Medley was still like, yeah, man, I want to play football for you guys still. I mean, that kind of speaks volumes. If I don't think there's a lot of trepidation in the fan base about Gus and Herb Hand or Tony White for that matter. I think everybody's really excited about these coordinators. But we keep talking about these guys saying the right things and having the right mindset, but also, just if there was any doubt in your mind, feel like it being in like a 4-8 season, and there's a whole new slate, you figured you might be like, all right, I'll either stick it out here, see how the new coaching staff's going to be, or I'll see what else is out there in the portal. And, Adrian Medley is pretty much like, no, man, I'll stick it out with these guys.
Yeah. Don't you think some of it though, is that, I know they lost games, but they're not the head coach anymore. He's not the head coach anymore. And the offense is the offense. I think even after a 4-8 season, you can still believe that the offense is a good offense. And this guy knows what he's doing. It's not like their offense was abysmal last year. They had some bad games. I mean, they scored 13 against Florida. They lost 24-13. They lost 19-13 to Cincinnati. Yeah. And then they lost to Iowa State 38-35. They lost to Arizona State 35-31. Those are good teams. Those were both essentially playoff teams. And they scored at least 31 against both of them. So I think the offense still speaks for itself. I think the offense is still enough. It performed well enough, and it wasn't necessarily up to Gus Malzahn's standards. But it wasn't even average. It was better than average from a national perspective, and I just think you believe in the guy. His track record as an offensive guy, play caller, is almost uncheckered. It's undeniable. His track record as a head coach, I get it. There would be trepidation there. But if you're just going to play for him as a play caller, I don't see why that would be much of a there would be much hesitancy at all there. The guy knows what he's doing. He's a good offensive play caller.
Yeah, and also I guess speaks to the fact all the guys from Nebraska also decided to come out here with their coaches too. But I think we're pretty set on the defense, and we think, although the offense has much more room to grow than the defense. Like statistically, conventional statistics, the defense wasn't that bad last year.
It got bad at the end when they were done, when they knew they couldn't win. It seemed like they cashed in a little bit. They cashed in their chips. But yes, no.
Wasn't excited to run it back. I'm not trying to say that it was a...
No, but I said this on headlines. Like if Florida State, and I've said this before on this show, I was just saying because we had headlines on Tuesday that if Florida State would have just had an average offense, maybe even a slightly below average, it's a bowl team.
Right.
That it just had the worst offense in school history and one of the worst offenses in ACC history, modern day ACC history. That's how bad it was. So with that in mind, that getting that fixed obviously was priority number one. It will be worlds better in 2025. Will it be good enough to win a championship in ACC or otherwise? I don't know. Odds are probably stacked against it. But it will be so much better than it was this past year simply because it will be coordinated, it will be functioning, and it will have a quarterback that can move. All that will lend itself. And look, you have wide receivers that can do it. We know they can do it. There are no – what are the question marks, Aslan? It's weird. And I'm not saying like I don't see how this team doesn't go undefeated. But as you look at this offense – here we are in the middle of February, almost Valentine's Day. By the way, I hope you have big plans this weekend.
I
do. What are like the biggest question marks about this offense? Because I feel like it's all kind of established. Malzahn can coach. These linemen have played a lot of football. Castellanos is what Castellanos is. He's going to make plays with his legs and his arm, and he's going to make you roll your eyes sometimes. Your wide receivers, I don't think that's a question mark anymore. It might be a question of how good they are, but it's not a question of, can these guys play at all? I think, honestly, the biggest question mark as we head into 2025 is probably running back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they don't have anybody special. No, they don't.
Well, we don't know. The freshman might be special. Maybe Keziah is unleashed. But, no, you're right. They don't. But we don't know how good any of them are. I think we have a pretty good idea that the tight ends have some players. The wide receivers are good college football players. They've proven that. At least those two, the two main ones. The offensive line.
Deuce and Squirrel, is that who you're saying?
Deuce and Squirrel, yeah. So I think the biggest question mark, honestly, is just getting it all to come together and work together. Because you have a lot of moving parts that haven't been here before. But position by position, player by player on the roster, I don't feel like there's a lot of question marks. Like, how good is this guy? I feel like we know kind of what all of them are, or what we think they are, except for running back, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, in this day and age, especially with this coaching staff and their just ability seemingly to take anybody and make them into a 1,000-yard rusher. Yeah. The one thing I would say, though, is, listen, there's no doubt Herb Hand is a more accomplished – I don't want to say he's more accomplished offensive line coach than Alex Atkins is. But when you put together the continuity of who Atkins had, what they'd been through in 22 and 23 and then going into 24 and trying to tweak some stuff on the edges by bringing a guy like Richie Leonard in and Jake Rizzi, and to a lesser degree, TJ Ferguson. I wonder how, like, obviously with the luxury of hindsight, we can say I'd rather have Herb Hand and whoever else than what Florida State rolled out there last year. But, I don't know if Herb Hand's really, I got to really go back and look and see what he inherited in 2020 and what he did in 21 at UCF. I know the offense pretty much hit the ground running, but that was a really good offense that Josh Heupel left behind. So I don't want to get like too over our skis, but you like the track record and the fact that he handpicked all these guys. So there isn't a lot of inheritance of former players, and we need to hope that he's going to be able to flip the script on them and give them some sort of act 2 of their short careers here. Like, he looked at tape on all these guys, spoke to the guys that he knows, and these are the 5 guys that he kind of pencils in as his starters. But still some trepidation there because we felt so, that was probably to almost turn this question. Sorry to interrupt you, Corey, but I feel like last year going to the season, that was what we felt the most confident about. It's like, this offensive line, like, they're bringing everybody back. They got some more help in the portal. They'll be great. And like, it's the biggest miss of the 2024 college football season.
It's the biggest miss since we've been doing this show, quite honestly. I can't even think of anything that comes close. But because we thought that was going to be a strength of the team, and it turns out to be one of the weakest units in the entire country. So that is an enormous miss on all our parts, including the coaching staff. I think that Herb Hand's history, his resume, and the fact that these guys' resumes, that they're coming, a couple of them, 3 of them, 2 of them started in the SEC for multi-years. Another guy started at Wake for multiple years. And then the other guy played for Herb Hand. So my biggest question mark, I don't expect them to be dominant. I don't even know if you saw him say that they're going to be good. I think Herb Hand, with these guys and all this experience, will find himself a serviceable, at worst, adequate, serviceable offensive line. An adequate, serviceable offensive line to go along with a running threat at quarterback in some big targets at wide receiver and tight end should lend itself to double the points at least this year. With Malzahn and Herb Hand, I just have confidence in their track record together and the fact that they're bringing in guys that can play right away. I don't know. The biggest question mark with the offensive line to me is it just the cohesion, how they work together, how they work with him. Will the young guys push at all and try to get on the field? Those are all questions. I mean, you throw Richie Leonard in with those 4 other guys, again, you're talking about the average age is probably 23. With each guy averaging probably 25 to 30 starts in their career. Like, this is it's going to be one of the most experienced lines in the country. Then again, so was last year's. Yeah. And that meant nothing at all. So that's, when it comes to the offense, honestly, it's just how those guys work in cohesion together. Because, again, I don't think you have any Walter Joneses in there. You might not have a single NFL lineman in there. Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn will make something out of it. I think the ceiling isn't as high. But the floor has been raised. The ceiling isn't like sky high. But the floor has been raised considerably. And I like what you've done at wide receiver. Tight end, I think, is good. I like Castellanos for what you are this year. The fact that he can move around and really is essentially a running back that can throw, just the way he runs the ball. So, the question marks to me are pass rush, linebacker play. Like, honestly, I think there's more question marks on the defensive side of the ball because I just have a little more confidence in what they brought in offensively. Well, in another thing, they had so much farther to go offensively. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I have much more confidence that the offense is going to be much more improved just because of it's such a low bar to clear.
Yeah,
I did it. I talked. Hey guys, this is February 12th. We're 7.5 months away from football. And listen to us go. Are you kidding me right now?
Coming off a 2-10 season.
Coming off 2-10. You guys are maniacs for listening to this. God love you. God love you. We really do love you and appreciate it. But holy cow, we're trying our best. And spring practice starts probably in, a month, Aslan, we think?
Yeah, I think a little bit less than that because I think spring break starts on the 8th. So I don't know. Maybe they'll wait.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Maybe they'll wait until it's over to because haven't they historically
they have
1 week and then they take spring break off?
Maybe last year they waited till after spring break instead of doing the 1 week and then take a week off. So maybe they're waiting till after. You're right.
All right. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, Corey, because Hoops plays tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, today.
Oh yeah, today.
Yeah, today against at Wake. Big game.
Let's go. Although, is it really? I just feel like
no, it's not a big game.
Leonard just needs to look at. Leonard just needs to figure out. I mean, because when he said after the game against Notre Dame, what I'm going to do is I just want to finish out my job, and that's doing my best to help this team win or whatever. And it's just I don't know, just use the next 8 games. They have how many games do they have left? 8? Does that sound right?
Somewhere in there, yeah, sure.
I mean, that's just
7 or 8.
Figuring out. All right, what are we going to do for the tournament? The ACC tournament, that is.
Well, even then, what are the odds they're going to win it? I just don't think they're equipped. I could be wrong.
Not a great.
Worst teams have gone on runs.
Someone needs to knock out Duke for us, right? And just somebody knock out Duke, and then,
right.
and then
everybody else is beatable.
Yeah,
everybody else. Clemson's good. Yeah. They got Clemson on Saturday at home. That would be cool. I would like Leonard, and Clemson's ranked. They just beat the bejesus out of North Carolina after beating Duke 2 days prior. So they're a good team. They're a tournament team. And Hamilton and Brownwell have coached against each other for years. It would be, and Clemson beat them badly up there a few weeks ago. It would be really cool for Leonard to get one at home against a ranked team, like one last time, because it's his last chance to play a ranked team at home. So hopefully they can perform well on Saturday. But yeah, maybe they can make some sort of run at the tournament. I would like him to get a couple more noteworthy-ish wins on the way out the door and get to 200 ACC wins. I think he's at like 197 right now. So I want him to get 3 more ACC wins. I want him to get 3 more wins this regular season so he can get to 200.
Would the tournament games got to count too, right?
No, not for those records. No,
that's not cool. I mean, shoot, it's their tournament game, their conference games. But anyhow, I digress. Should have brought this up on the show the other day, Corey. But to circle back, and maybe it's not a good thing to circle back because it's out of our consciousness. Although, shout out to Josh Sweat and the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl. We didn't get to talk about that.
My man almost won the MVP.
We almost had to scrap the show and record a whole new one with focus on Josh Sweat winning the MVP. But no, it's got to be the offense. It's always the offense.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, they did score 40-something points. But, yeah, the defense is the reason. What was it at halftime? Like 24-0?
Yeah.
Good grief.
Well, actually, let me ask you this instead of the stupid question I was going to ask you.
Great.
You've been hopping on the message boards and generating discussion. Again, as we said, we'll do the real generating discussion on tomorrow's show. Get involved in the mailbag, everybody. But with it being the NFL Honors Weekend, going into the Super Bowl, where you get you don't get enshrined, but you get inducted. No.
Well, you get selected.
Selected.
Yeah.
To make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and this got you thinking, who's next for Florida State? And Warwick Dunn, Anquan Bolin, like the two names that kind of come to mind first. I think we're going to probably have to wait for Jalen Ramsey, but Jalen is an absolute shoo-in. What do you think about Dunn and Anquan and their realistic chance of getting in there at some point?
I would really hope Anquan. I think, and I'm a huge Warwick Dunn fan. I think Anquan would deserve it more if I had to choose between those two. I think he's 7th all time in receiving yards, something like that, or receptions. He's in the top 7 all time in the NFL in either receptions or receiving yards. Top 20 in the other one, or top 25.
9th in receptions.
He's 9th all time. I mean, that's crazy, man.
14th in receiving yards.
And think about what the kind of player he was. He was okay if he got 2 catches for 30 yards. He loved to block. Like he was a football player.
Yes.
I mean, he was just a football player, man, in every facet of the word. And he had a really good NFL career. He was also the NFL Man of the Year. So was Warwick Dunn, by the way. And I just, receiver is such a hard position. I know Larry Fitzgerald's going to go in immediately next year. He's eligible. And Torrey Holt isn't in yet. Reggie Wayne isn't in yet. But I just feel like it's hard to get in as a receiver because the numbers are outrageous these days. But context matters. And Anquan was like the fastest in NFL history to 100 catches, 200 catches, 300 catches. Like he was the guy, one of the guys that paved the way for the new modern era of college or NFL.
And 600.
Was he really?
As of I think 2022.
I mean, that's crazy, man. Like that's a feather in the cap. He was making history. It wasn't just like he stacked. He wasn't like a Don Sutton. God love you, Don Sutton, R.I.P. And he's a Hall of Famer, but he went 19-12 every year. He was never one of the best pitchers in the league. He was never making history. Anquan was making history early on in his career, and then later on in his career, he was still serviceable, still good, and winning Super Bowls and scored touchdowns in Super Bowls. So I do hope he makes it. I think he deserves it. I think his career numbers make him absolutely Hall worthy. Plus the person he was off the field, that should be something they celebrate. It's just a weird voting process, and who knows if he'll ever get in. But Leroy Butler, it took him, when did Leroy get in, 2022?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And he had been retired for, I'm going to say, 15 years. So sometimes it takes a while, and it takes a groundswell. And hopefully Anquan will start getting that groundswell eventually, because he absolutely deserves it. Warwick Dunn deserves it too, just on the person he is. But we don't put people in the Hall of Fame just because they're really good people. And he was a very good NFL running back. Very, very good. I don't know if I would call him one of the best running backs ever. I don't know how many all-pro teams he made, but he was very, very good for the Buccaneers and Falcons, and I think had over, 15,000 scrimmage yards. Just a wonderful, wonderful career. And I don't think anybody would have a problem if he was in it either. It wouldn't be like, what are we doing now? We're letting anybody in? Warwick Dunn's in? I think people would be very fired up if both of them got in. I think Anquan's got the better shot. I think it'll take a while. And then, I think Jalen is the next automatic when he's done. But that won't be for another, I don't know, man. He probably won't be eligible for another 10 or 11 years, I would think.
This is from 2023, November 2023, going to that Super Bowl. But that year, the semifinalists, there were 6 wide receivers. One was Anquan. The others were Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, Hines Ward, and Reggie Wayne.
So only who got in? Andre Johnson?
I think so. Maybe Reggie
Wayne?
Wayne?
I don't even know if Steve Smith's in. Yeah. Reggie Wayne's not in. I know that. Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt aren't in. I don't think Hines Ward is in either. I'd be fine with all those guys. I think Anquan was better than Hines Ward.
I do too, yeah.
But they both played quarterback a little bit in college too. I was actually at a game where Hines Ward threw for 400 yards as a quarterback. It was
Georgia?
Georgia Tech. He threw for 400 yards. I was at that game with my dad. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That dude was and that dude is a football player too. So I don't know why the NFL would have 4 guys going in 1 year. Yeah. It should be 11. Load it up. Who cares? Canton needs the crowds. Yeah, they needs the revenue. It needs the tourism. Put 11 or 12 in there every year.
I added this in your thread on warchant.com for Anquan, and I don't know, man. I hope so. My whole thing has just been: were you considered one of the 5 best at your position for 5 years of your career? And I don't know if Anquan ever really was, but when you look at his body of work, and as you mentioned, he's the quickest to get to this amount of catches and that amount of catches, and he's 9th in receptions and top 15 in yardage reception or yardage receiving.
Yeah.
I think it goes back, and again, this you talk about Walter Payton Man of the Year, and then him just being a football player, and if you made a guy that you wanted to play wide receiver, I think the Anquan Boldin template is one that you would look at longingly and be like, I think I want one of those guys on my team. When he got injured against the Jets, where I think it might have been Carson Palmer.
He broke his jaw, right?
I mean, orbital bone.
Yeah.
I mean, broke his face, concussed. Yeah. I mean, he did the whole fencing reaction mechanism to where, if that would happen in this day and age, there would be calls for him to shut it down for the entire season. Man, he comes back in less than a month. First game back, catches 2 touchdowns, and actually pops off a run for 30 yards, which was his career long.
Yeah.
Coming off an absolute, look it up, kids. Anquan Boldin breaks face versus Jets. And just realize that 3 weeks later, he comes back, catches 2 touchdowns, runs for 30 yards on a rush. So
yeah, man, a great football player.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be one of the 5 best at receiver in the NFL. That's who's outside of that? Think of all the great NFL players, right? All the NFL wide receivers. There is a Hall of Famer that's 7th best in the league right now. You know what I mean? Drake London is a really good wide receiver for the Falcons. He might not be top 15 or 20. That's hard.
Well,
but he was
the
very
Hall of Fame,
good.
Though. It's Hall of Fame for a reason.
You're right, Aslan. You're right. I think they're letting too many in. Make it 1 a year.
Yeah, right now it's Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I don't think he's quite. I mean,
he's
Jamar
pretty good. He's really good.
He is, but Trey McBride, Malik Neighbors as a rookie, we'll see. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, your boy Drake London,
Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans is his first ballot for sure, but he's not on the
No, but I'm saying if you talked about the 5 best receivers right now.
Oh, he's not.
I don't know if Evans makes it.
Yeah,
the guy the Rams kid,
Puka
Nacua.
Yeah.
He might be one. He might not be. I don't know. Metcalf. I mean, every team has just this incredible freak out wide now. Yeah. And Florida State has one in Jayvan Boggs.
Let's go.
Everyone. Let's go. You got yourself one. Let's see him shine.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. We'll be back tomorrow. Renegade Express mailbag, generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Enter, go to warchant.com, make the best question, and you will get entered into a drawing for a Cummins gift bag. And then obviously you get a drawing or a name in the hat for the grand prize drawing at the end of the year, a Cummins portable generator or portable power station. So lots of perks being a member of warchant.com. Come join us, everybody. He's Corey. I'm Asal. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Shake it and take it, vitaminenergy.com.